But what I'm saying today, you have to change your mind. So let's get into this thing. We gotta find out what is money.
Right.
In your mind, right now, what do you associate money to be?
Paper.
Paper, right? Paper. Okay, everybody got that, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you go to the U.S. Treasury, you're not going to find that. We're talking about those that make this what we so-called call money. The U.S. Treasury doesn't call it that. They call it currency. Now,
did y'all hear that? Did y'all get that?
Y'all get it? Yeah. Okay. Y'all got to say it with me now. Currency.
Y'all feel free to ask questions. Just keep them short.
Currency. We got to call it what it is.
You got it, David?
We got to call it currency. That's what it is. Currency comes from two words. Comes from the word current, C-U-R-R-E-N-T, and it comes from the second word is S-E-A. Okay, everybody got that? Write this down. If you don't write this down, you're still going to be calling it the wrong thing.
The current of the sea. The word currency is the current of the sea.
So y'all got that? So what happens is the water represents those dollars. Water represents dollars. Y'all got that?
Currency.
Come on now, chime in. You say, yeah, Elder, I hear you. Yeah. Write that down. Currency is that when the water flows through the river, it is moving. And there's two things on either side of the river that holds that water in there or holds that currency in there. And that represents the banks. You understand that? The banks of a river. Okay. When the banks of the river hold that water in,
I told you I did already.
It controls the flow
if he's on,
of that water. It controls or it keeps that water contained. Well, that's the same thing currency is with the financial banks. That currency must flow through the institutions. Y'all understand? Y'all got to get this. Y'all don't get this, it's over. Your mind is not going to be changed. You're going to still be going in the same direction. So the banks control the flow of that currency. When the currency gets to a certain point that it needs to expand, it flows out into the sea. The river flows out into the sea. Y'all got it? That's what Darius said. Darius said, the current of the sea. This is the reason why the United States became an empire. They don't call it an empire. They call it a democracy. They call it a republic. But right now, it's an empire because our currency is in every country.
And it also isn't backed by anything because it doesn't have to be. It's backed by our military. We'll come and bomb. They'll come and bomb you and say, this is worth $10 because we said this is worth $10. That's the only thing that backs the currency right now is the military.
Okay, somebody said paper dollars. That this currency is made out of paper. Well, that's not it. It is not made out of paper dollars. It's not made out of paper. It is made out of cotton.
The paper money is made out of cotton.
So this currency is made out of cotton. What our forefathers and our foremothers were picking during the time of slavery. Y'all get this? Y'all gotta get this. Because they were transferring that wealth that they were picking was being transferred to the hands of the slave owners. Oh God. That's what you call a transfer of wealth, brothers. I mean, this was going on throughout the United States. They were using us for that wealth transfer, whether it be tobacco, whether it be cotton, whatever it was.
We do all
they
that
were
talking later.
transferring wealth to themselves and were taking from us. But the Lord God said that was going to happen. That we would long for all things. I mean, we couldn't taste anything. We couldn't taste nothing. Nothing that grew, we couldn't taste. So this wealth transfer that took place during that time is the same wealth transfer that we're transferring that same wealth back into us. It is so much easier now than it was during that time.
Okay, Elder. You mind if I chime in for a second? Give you a chance to regroup.
It is not money.
You mind if I chime in for a sec, Elder? Give you a second to regroup. Okay. So, brother, do me a favor. Read that verse, Deuteronomy 8 and 18 one more time. I want to bring something very clear based on what the elder just said. Deuteronomy 8 and 18. I'll put it in the chat for those that don't got it.
But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it's when he that gives the power to get wealth.
Right.
That he may establish his covenant, which he swore unto the fathers.
So it is the Most High, right? It's the Most High that gives you power to get wealth. You notice how it didn't say currency. It didn't say dollars. It didn't say money. It said wealth. So he gave us power to get wealth. It didn't say riches. It said wealth. There's something significant right there. It's really key. Break that down, Elder. Break that down. What the Most High is talking about.
Okay, so wealth is what's called perpetual. It's sustaining.
Right.
Wealth does not go anywhere. Y'all understand? It doesn't say when it says wealth, it means something that does not go away. Right. So when we become wealthy, I mean, we are leaving an inheritance for our children's children. That's why it says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And then they leave that. Then that good man, after the first good man dies, that good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And it's perpetual. It continues on throughout generations. So when we get wealth, we get something that is sustained, something that doesn't go away. And what God has established as wealth, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. But we have to think about wealth when it comes to riches. I mean, there's so much in here. There's so much. I mean, this thing is beautiful. When we think about riches, we have to think about what it means to be rich, because we all say, and I'm sure we're growing up, we all say what we want. I mean, we want to be rich. I mean, I know everybody said, yeah, I want to be rich one day. But in order to be rich, you have to have what rich represents.
Right.
So let's break that down.
Right.
So you know what I did? I just went to the dictionary. One day I said, you know what? I'm tired of saying I want to be rich. I got to find out what riches are. So what I did was I went to the dictionary and found out that riches are natural resources.
There you go.
Okay.
Natural resources make you wealthy.
Right. Riches make bring you to a place where it's redundant, that it is continues to reproduce. Riches are something you reproduce with. So if you own a forest, you can sell your trees. When a person comes in to buy a tree, they cut down the tree, but they must buy the tree that they're cutting down. Plus, they must replant a tree. Every tree that they cut down, they must replant a tree, a small tree. Okay, y'all follow me?
Right.
Those are riches. So if you own a cattle farm, what do you have? You have something that's reproducing after itself, right? Those are riches. When you have lambs, sheep, goats, all that is riches.
So
On a fish farm, those are riches. You're reproducing. It's reproducing after itself. When you don't have to do anything, what you have to do is feed them.
you just live off the dividends, like what we've been saying about the animal farm. You just live off the dividends. You don't gotta work, you don't gotta plant nothing. It just reproduces in dividends, and you never sell your assets or your resources. You just end up living off of them. This is what the wealthy people do. You know what I mean? So when we deal with wealth, we've been made to believe that we got to chase the currencies of these countries. Like, you ever wonder why there's a lot of billionaire, millionaire black people, but they don't create jobs for their nation or their families? They just move out of their black neighborhood and go live in the white neighborhood and live the rest of their lives with the white community like they're white. You ever wonder that? Like, everybody else creates jobs for their people. They create an economy for their people, but our people, we got a lot of millionaires and billionaires among our people, but they don't create jobs and an economy, an ecosystem for us to live in. You ever wondered that? But they just, they teach us to go chase dollars.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about what could be money. Okay? So if we know that the dollar is not money, then what is?
There we go.
You may already know. But because you didn't associate it with money, then when you see it, you don't think of it as money. So can anybody tell me what money is?
Root of all evil.
You connected
No,
to
right?
the
If money is the root of all evil, then Solomon wouldn't have said that money answereth all things. You see, you got to understand some things. It's not the root of all evil; it answereth all things. That's what Solomon said.
You talking about the Most High money?
Yeah, Solomon says in Ecclesiastes.
Oh, I thought you said
19. He says, a feast is made by laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. Okay? So y'all gotta understand that Solomon was talking about.
Right. It didn't say currency answer all things. It didn't say dollars. It didn't say riches. It said money. What does money mean? What is God's money?
What is it in Hebrew?
And what? It's only one thing.
It's only
one thing.
It's the one thing that ain't nobody talking about right now. It's crazy.
And it's the least available in the world, and it's becoming extinct.
I'm gonna look up the Hebrew word. I'm gonna put the Hebrew word in that verse where it says money, and I'm gonna show y'all what that word for money means. It ain't gonna say nothing about no currency, no paper. Watch this. Go ahead, Elder. Keep going.
Okay. Now, I'll wait till you put it in the
But
chat.
if it answers all things, that means that anybody with this don't have no problems.
Hello.
And people that got a lot of money, what we say in the 90s, more money, more problems, right? Remember we used to say that? But
okay, so if you have dollars, you have problems.
Oh,
If you have
that's
money,
crazy, man.
you don't have any problems.
That's crazy, man. That's dollar make you think.
Y'all better get this. You better change your mind. Change your mind, because many people have been dealing with all of these darn problems that they cannot solve with dollars. Y'all get me? Yeah. They cannot solve it with dollars. But when you have money,
Real money.
okay. So let's go to the first time.
okay, hold on. Before we jump, Elder, break it down what real money is. I just put the definition for that word in that verse where it said money.
Yeah,
The Hebrew word is
Y'all
there.
know-
It's the word kasapa or kasafa
Kesef.
or
What
kesef.
is it?
They like to say kesef here in the land. The definition is silver, money, silver
Y'all get that?
as metal, ornament, color, money, shekels. They call it shekels here in the land. Shekels is a measurement of precious metals. That's what the word shekel means. It's a measurement of precious metals. And they call that the currency here in the land. It's called a shekel. You know.
They'll put it on the scale and weigh it.
Yeah, that's the definition of a shekel. It's a weight, a measurement, you know.
They used to weigh the money up.
Okay, and so the translation I got is they call it also cash. They call it cash, brothers. Cash. They call it dough. Y'all remember those words?
Right.
We say cash money, cash money.
Right.
We call it dough.
Right.
Okay, so now let's confirm that.
Now we understand what Solomon meant when he said it answers all things.
All things, not some things. All things.
You show up with these debt reserves, that ain't answering nothing. You know. But you show up with some silver and gold. Hey, man, ain't no problems with that. And
whatever we do in life,
and it's appreciating.
Whatever it is, we are given certain things, certain material, and by which to do it. So whether we use a hammer and a nail, we can't use a piece of glass. You know, we have to use the right thing. And this is the reason why we have been duped into thinking that the dollar is money, because they don't want us to know that. They don't want us to use that. They don't want us to understand that. So we gotta call silver money, and that's and Daria knows. Every time Daria says money, I said, "What are you talking about? You talking about this shekel? You talking about the shekel, or are you talking about silver?" Okay, so let's go to the first time that gold and silver, well, gold was mentioned. It's mentioned in Genesis chapter 2, verse 12. And the gold that is in that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. So gold protects silver. Because y'all notice that gold costs more than silver right now. Everybody understand that? Gold is more than silver. So it's like $1,900 an ounce. Silver is somewhere around $26, $27 an ounce. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
So gold, remember now, gold is not considered money. Gold in the scriptures is not money. It is a coin. They use it as money, but it's not money.
Yeah, did y'all get that? Did y'all hear that? According to the Bible, silver is money, not gold.
Not gold.
That's important.
And this is
Write that down.
Damn,
what happened
this
to
is
you?
why they don't want you to know that that silver is money. Now, let's go to the scriptures. We're just gonna go. We're gonna hit the scriptures right now. And we're gonna go to Genesis chapter 37:28. Go to Genesis chapter 37, verse 28. Now we're talking about the during the time of Joseph, when his brothers were jealous. And we're just gonna skip all the way to this one verse, and y'all gonna see what they sold Joseph for. Whenever you get it, read it.
Yeah, I'll read it for you. 37:28 only, or 37:28 down.
37, just 37:28.
All right, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna read it. Here we go. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt.
Y'all get that? The first thing you see is merchantmen. Okay? These are merchants. And what did they deal with? What were they dealing with? They weren't dealing with gold. They were dealing with silver. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
So silver is money. Because remember now, we know that Solomon said money answereth all things. So we translate that word money to silver.
Mm-hmm. To this day, it's the same thing.
Okay. Hey, do you know how many lords there were that compelled Delilah to betray Samson? Because I thought it was 5.
You want me to look it up?
I didn't have to look it up, but what I understood that there were 5 lords. There were 5 lords. So now I'm just going to.
Okay, one of y'all got to mute real quick. There's a lot of feedback coming in from one of y'all listening. Just mute your mic real quick and keep listening, so that we can. Okay, the 5. You said the 5 lords of the Philistines were.
Yeah, but it doesn't say. I remember this long ago. I remember this long ago that somebody said there were 5 lords. You know, I was listening to this. I was listening to this radio program, and they were talking about this. They said there were 5 lords. So even if there were 2 lords, let's just read Judges chapter 16, verse 5.
Okay.
Go to Judges chapter 15, verse 5, and this is when these lords propositioned Delilah to betray Samson.
Okay.
And read what it says.
You want only that one verse, or just you want to read down?
Just that one verse.
Okay. Okay. I'm putting it in the chat for those that's not. All right, here we go. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Man.
Okay, y'all got that? Even if there were two, that's 2,200 pieces of silver.
Yeah, that's serious.
Okay, and what they're saying that though is that there were five. So if there were five, that's 5,500 pieces of silver that they gave her.
She became very wealthy in that betrayal.
Yes, she became very wealthy in that betrayal. She sure did. So y'all understand what's going on? We're talking about God's money. God is not going to do anything with these dollars. He's going to deal with silver. That's why this great wealth transfer that is about to take place is going to be pertaining to gold and silver. That's it.
There's a great wealth transfer about to go down probably before this year is over with, y'all. And they're talking about a gold and silver grab already in America. They're planning it. They're planning it. That means the price. That means the price of gold and silver is going to skyrocket when this happens. All of us on this call have an advantage of knowing this. We got to get our hands on this gold and silver before this gold rush happens. We can't wait until the last minute because they're going to jack the price. So this is the importance of this. This ain't just a Bible study. Hey, we feel like reading the Bible about gold and silver. No, this pertains to today. This is real. If we don't get our hands on real wealth, we will be slaves to those that do hold the real resources and wealth. And that's the bottom line.
And listen, this wealth transfer is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in the history of creation. I mean, it's going to be, it's not going to even compare. It's going to be the greatest wealth transfer of all the previous wealth transfers combined. And let me tell you why. When they were taking gold and silver out of the ground back during those days, they only had picks. You know, they didn't have the type of drills and the dynamite and all those things that break up the ground and take tons and tons and tons and tons of rock, and then they process it, and then they extract the gold and the silver, and they put it into bars. So what they're doing today is 10,000 times the amount of gold that was available back in those days. So all the gold and all the silver that's above ground right now is going to shoot so high that it's not going to even be, that they're not going to even be able to count it, how much it's going to go to. They're not going to even be able to say, oh, it's this much or it's that much. Okay, now I want to show you. I wasn't able to pull it up, but if you can pull it up, Dawiyad, where Joseph's brothers came and what they had to. I know everybody knows this, but what exactly they had to buy the food with when they came to Egypt.
Okay, one moment. I believe that's what, Genesis 41, somewhere around there.
Yeah, when the brothers came into Egypt to buy.
No, maybe that's okay. 42. Here we go. Joseph's 10 brother went down to buy corn. Benjamin didn't come. Joseph was the governor over the land. Okay. Joseph knew his brethren. They knew him not. Okay. Whoop de whoop. I'm trying to get to
Okay, so for the sake of time,
yeah.
let's just understand that when Joseph's brothers came into Egypt to buy the grain or the corn or the wheat, they had those same 20 pieces of silver to
Okay.
buy.
Okay. I found something. 42 and 25. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn and to restore every man's money into his sack and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. But they used the word money there, which translates to the same word kesef or kasafa.
Okay, y'all see that? You see what Joseph was giving them back for what they paid for. And he gave them back the money or the silver, because silver is translated money, money is translated silver. Okay, now let's fast forward, or let's just say when Egypt had a problem with money. Okay, so let me give you this. It says in Genesis chapter 47:15.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 47, verse 15.
And when money failed in Egypt. Let me see. Can y'all hear me? Okay, good. All right, 47:15. I'm putting it in the chat. I'm gonna read it. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth.
Okay, y'all get that?
That's called economic crash. That's what's about to happen.
Yep. See, that's what I'm talking about. You see what you all see what's going on? So when Joseph set up this system of storing 1/5 of all the grain into these storehouses, this was going to happen to bring all the money into Egypt. So when the famine came, the whole world came unto Egypt. And what did they have to transfer? What did they have to buy the wheat or the grain or the corn with? What did they use? Come on, y'all. Money. There you go. They used money. But they also had gold. But the main thing that they had, you got to remember that anytime you have an economy, the only thing that flows in that economy is silver. That's the only thing. So here we have the whole world coming into Egypt, and the main source of what they were buying it with was silver. Although they had gold, they had gold, silver, they had precious stones, they had fine linen, they had oils, perfumes, cologne. They had all different types of things to trade, but the main trade was silver. Is this resonating to you all? Yep. So it's going to take a while for you to change your mind, but once you start changing your mind, it is going to transform you into the king that you are. See, because kings need wealth, and wealth is money, and money is silver. So,
woo! Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. That was too fast right there. You got to slow down right there. Hold on. Say that again. Say that part again. Just one more time right there.
Okay, so
kings need wealth.
When you change your mind,
right?
Change your mind about silver, you will transform, or you will understand the king that you are, and that kings need wealth, and wealth is money, and money is silver.
Man. Hey, y'all, listen up, man. He's been telling me this for years, but I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't mature enough to handle this type of knowledge. Even a lot of you on this call, you're going to take this knowledge and you're going to brush it aside, some of you. But some of you are going to see what's happening in front of you in the economy in which you live. You're going to see the inflation on the food prices, the inflation on the rent, the light bill, you name it. It's all shooting up. And it doesn't mean that the value of all this stuff is going higher. That's not what that means. It means that the value of the dollar, the value of the current currency, whatever country you in, is using, is plummeting to the ground. It's slapping the concrete. It's hitting the wall. And that the value of real assets like gold, silver, copper is skyrocketing right now. And they will never tell us this. They will never. This is why the rappers are throwing money in there in all the videos, all the financial gurus, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Warren Buffett. All these guys are only gonna tell you about the currency of the time.
That's all they're going to tell you.
They ain't gonna say nothing because they need the masses of us to not become. It's only one thing that disqualifies you from being a slave. It's only one thing, and that's ownership. That's power. Remember, it's the Most High that gives you power to create wealth. He didn't give us power to chase dollars. That's slavery.
Now let's look at this picture. Now let's break that scripture down. I didn't understand that scripture for, years upon years. I was wondering what the heck God was talking about. It says he has given your hands the power,
right,
to get wealth. Okay? Because we know also another scripture that says the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
right.
Okay? So he's giving your hands the power to get it. Well, how do you get it? I mean, he's giving your hands the power, so says, okay, I've given you the power, now go get wealth. I've given you the authority to get wealth. I've given you the access. Take that dollar. Y'all follow me now? Come on now.
Yeah. I feel you. Real talk.
Take that dollar and transfer it. You know, look, all you have to do, you can, look, let me tell you something. I was in Michigan. During, right before the pandemic. During the time, around 2009, 2010. There was this guy there. He was buying houses. Now watch this. The man was working at Burger King. He came out and said, I said, man, that's a nice house. He said, yeah, man, let me tell you something. He said, these houses are so cheap. I bought this house for $1,100. What? Yeah. Houses in Michigan were going dirt cheap. I mean, they were so cheap. He said, I bought this house for $1,100. He said, guess where I work? I said, where? He said, I work at Burger King. And he said, I'm getting ready to get my third house. I have two houses. I'm getting ready to get my third house. And he paid cash. He paid cash for all of them. So what he did was he transferred those dollars into something that had value. Okay, so the only thing we were talking. I have been talking like Dawiyad said. I have been talking to Dawiyad for years, and there's only two asset classes in the world that are undervalued right now. There's only two classes of assets that are undervalued. Can anybody guess what they are?
Well, how to save money?
That's one of them. And the other one is gold.
Wow, okay. I never heard of gold. That's good.
Gold and silver are the only two asset classes that are undervalued. Can anybody tell me why that is?
Oh, wait.
Well, let me just go ahead and explain it. Gold and silver are the enemy of the dollar. Gold and silver are enemies to the dollar because the dollar is Satan's money, or Satan's what they call Satan's money, and gold and silver is God's money.
Man. Whoa.
Whoo-wee. Do y'all understand what he's saying? Are y'all is it able to be digested what he just said?
Are you getting this?
That's powerful.
This fake currency is Satan's money, but gold and silver is God's money, and we all know all through the Torah, it's required in the treasury, in the offerings, in the transactions. It's required.
King Solomon only drank from a golden cup.
Right. I mean, it's required. You cannot show up in this at the Most High's house with none of this fake, what they call fake currency, fake dollars, fake shekels. It's all fake. In Israel, they call the currency shekel, which is the measurement of a precious metal. And it is not any of that. We walk around with fake money in our pockets.
No dollars, because That's just
And in the land, I went and did all my research. Like I said, you can get an ounce of silver for $5 right now. $5 for 1 ounce. Take $100 and get 20 ounces and be very wealthy compared to your peers.
That's the only real.
But that's how we're gonna protect our income right now. This is what we have to do. This is real, man. This is what time it is.
When they get ready to crash the market, and they will
again,
this time they're going to crash the dollar. When the dollar goes to zero, the two asset classes that were undervalued are now getting ready to go to the sun and the moon. Does anybody understand what I just said?
The sun is the goal.
Anybody just hear what I just said?
Yeah, we heard it.
Y'all feel free to chime in with questions and all that. Feel free.
Let me say it again. When they crash this market and the market crashes and the dollar crashes with it, then gold and silver are going to go. Gold is going to go to the sun and silver is going to go to the moon. Y'all get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me break it down for you. God made two great lights, one to rule the day and the other to rule the night. Y'all understand that in Genesis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, gold represents the sun.
Okay.
Since there's more light during the day, there's more gold in the earth. Okay?
Okay.
And silver is like the moon. Since there's less light at night, there's less silver in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if the sun and the moon have been given rulership over the day and the night, then whoever owns the gold and the silver on the earth are the ones ruling.
Y'all get that? Y'all get that?
Yeah, we get that strong, loud and clear.
Whoever owns all the gold and silver rules the world. We all know who owns most of the gold and silver deposits in the world. But there's still a lot in circulation that nobody cares about. Look at it like this, right? We're in Africa, some of us. And these African countries produce their own gold and silver. And they could care less about it. They're chasing this fake paper currency. I'm talking about some of these countries got 10s, 20, 30, 40, 50 gold and silver mines in their country. And they could care less about it. They want the dollar. They want the British pound. Which is all fake. All of the financial gurus know. They know this. They know what we're saying. They know. But they can't say it. Because it goes against their whole empire is built on our ignorance. Imagine being from one of these African countries. You know what Ghana was called before they named it Ghana? It was called the Gold Coast. They got more gold than America can print dollars. And all they want is the dollar. And they actually have their own gold. They play with gold like we play with marbles. And nobody cares about it. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being from a gold-rich country or a silver-rich country and you don't care about it? Put yourself in, just fathom that. You don't care? You want the dollar? You want...
Not to mention what you can do with gold.
Man.
The medicines that you can make out of those.
And the dollar is made out of cotton. Okay, you can Google it. You can Google it. No problem. Go ahead. So now we see these rappers like Dawaya was saying. They just throw those dollars in the air and they fall on the floor. They fall on the ground. So what is it? What is that really saying to us? It's saying it's going back to the earth from where it came from. It came from cotton, and cotton came from the earth. Those dollars were made out of cotton, and it's going back to the earth. It's going back to the earth. And how you know that the dollar is not real? Just strike a match, my brother. Find out what happened.
Yeah, strike a match. Because in ancient Egypt, the money failed. That means you wasn't gonna eat if you didn't have no gold and silver. That's what we're living in today. You ain't gonna eat. You can't show up to Joseph in Egypt with I got this nice jacket, man. Check out this coat, man. Can I get a couple sacks of rice? Nah. Where's your gold and silver? You understand what happens? The value of everything goes back to God's money in the event of a collapse. Everything goes back to default settings. That's where we're at right now.
Now get this. Remember, the Lord made two great lights, one to rule the day and the other one to rule the night. So, the moon is a light. Y'all get this? So, if the moon is a light, how in the hell did anybody ever land on the moon?
They full of shit. Nobody believe them.
Why? Because the moon is a light. It's burning, brother. I know. The moon is burning. So there ain't nobody gonna be landing on no moon. I'm just talking straight talk. So all you have to do to find out if gold and silver is real, strike a match. Or put it in the furnace and turn the heat up to 5,500 degrees. Turn it up to 10,000 degrees. Oh, it's going to melt. But when it cools and you open it up, it's still there. Now, one speck has been evaporated. It's going to be the same denomination. It's going to be the same weight. That's why they call gold and silver indestructible. You cannot destroy it. You cannot destroy gold and silver. And when we get back to the land, the Lord brings us back to the land, He's going to tell the angels to go and get all the silver throughout the earth.
And the gold.
And the gold. He's going to say, go and get it. And they're going to go and get every last bit of it and bring it back.
Isaiah chapter 60, that's reparations. They're going to bring it all to Zion. That's our reparations. But you got to live. Right, you got to live to see that day. Most of us probably won't make it. But those of us that's ordained will.
What you all need to understand, that initially, this wealth transfer is going to put you so high above your enemies that you're going to be able to buy just about anything for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
I mean, pennies. I mean, you're going to be able to just go and get whatever you want. But that's not the purpose. It's not the purpose. But I do want my Bentley, but that's not the purpose. I want one before I leave the land. But anyway, we're doing it to establish establish His covenant.
Right.
If we're going to be the princes that Dawayad explained, we're going to be the princes.
Right.
To fund this, the building the wall and feeding the people when they come to the land initially. We have to prepare ourselves to be those princes and get as much silver and gold as we can.
When you read the scripture, right, you go to in Torah in Numbers chapter 7, it breaks down the princes of Israel, right? The princes of Israel, today we think that the princes just means the son of the king, right? But that's not our culture. That's not what it means in the scriptures. The princes of Israel are actually what we call today investors. You can read about this. The whole chapter 7 of the book of Numbers tells you. I think you call it Shemot, right? In the Hebrew, yeah. It tells you that all of these princes, one from each tribe, the 12 princes, they stood up to finance everything that Moses needed done for the tabernacle, for the offerings, for the incense, you name it. These guys would step up and finance everything that Moses, even for the wars that we had against the different nations surrounding the land. These princes stepped forward and they financed everything. This is what it means to be a prince. So if you were one of the noble families you read about in the scriptures, those are families of princes, meaning families of wealthy people, families of millionaires. What was your projection of 1 ounce of silver? What it will go to, Elder?
And I'm only talking conservative right now.
Right.
They're saying that silver could go to $1 million an ounce.
1 ounce for $1 million. So
and an ounce is 31 grams of silver.
Right. And you can get that for $5 in the land right now. $5. But you gotta come with me. I know the spots. You ain't gonna find it on you ain't gonna find it on your own.
Now here's a caveat for everybody. Don't know how long this is gonna last, but there is going to be there's another metal out there that people don't know about that the Lord he just dropped it. I mean, he dropped it in me, and I was like, what is this? So, now we got go to Ezra chapter 8, verse 27.
Okay. Ezra 8, just the one verse?
Yeah, just one verse.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Ezra chapter 8, verse 27. Also, 20 basins of gold of 1,000 drams, and 2 vessels of fine copper, precious as gold.
Did y'all get that?
Copper is precious as gold.
Did y'all get that?
Yeah, we got that.
Okay. So what is that telling us? Now, brothers, you know, God deals with revelation. I'm only giving you information because this is the revelation that I was given. I was given revelation. That means the rhema word from God for this metal, for copper. Now, copper is a precious metal, y'all. Come on now. Copper is a precious metal. And I've been buying copper since 2009. Okay?
Is it written? What is it in
So
Hebrew over there?
copper
On that verse.
is going to be needed in this new generation of cars, of electric cars. The only copper that is being used right now is copper that is being recycled.
Wow, I didn't
Y'all
know
hear
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that word you just said.
The largest
Like a shot.
copper mine on
They
earth
was telling us
is
that
in
that's not
Chile.
worth nothing. We was going. Like,
It
it's not
produces
even-
80% of the world's copper.
But it is worth a lot.
Only 20% of the other nations combined is only 20%. Just 20%. So what happens if there's an earthquake in Chile? What happens if there's an earthquake in South America? And it shuts down those mines. What do you think is going to happen to the price of copper?
It's gonna go up.
They need 40 pounds of copper to go into gasoline cars. But into these electric cars, they need 160 pounds. The demand of copper is getting ready to soar.
Yeah, it's getting ready to skyrocket if it hasn't already.
Now, I'm talking about cars, y'all. I'm not talking about trucks,
Planes, boats.
all of these other items that's going to electric. All these other things that's going to electric, because they're starting to build these electric trucks. Biden says that he wants to replace all the combustible cars in the federal government. You know how many cars that is? And trucks that is? It is close to 1 million vehicles. What do you think that's going to do to the price of copper?
Gonna bring it up.
It's going up.
You know what's funny? These pennies are copper.
What pennies?
The U.S. pennies they give us.
What pennies? You got to be more specific about that.
Some of them.
Huh?
1 cent penny.
Yeah. Which ones?
The U.S.
Which ones?
I think it's like from the 80s. The 80s on back, right? Early 80s, maybe.
82 and older. That is correct. So anything that's 83 and above, those are
they're not copper.
They're not copper. They're zinc.
When I was a kid, I used to love sucking on those pennies, man. I used to put them in my mouth all the time, man. They stopped tasting like pennies, I guess, because, heading into the late 80s, they changed from copper to zinc.
Right. So you know how many copper pennies I have in my safe right now? Y'all hear me? How many copper pennies? How many rolls of copper pennies I have right now? Bruh, we're getting ready to see this thing go ballistic.
Right.
We're getting ready to see this great wealth transfer.
And it just might happen by, in the next year or two. It might happen before this. Definitely going to see a difference in the price, I believe, before this year's over. In gold and silver, definitely. Before this. So this is the year, y'all, You have to get your hands on some gold and silver this year. This is the cutoff. If I'm wrong, oh well. But I'm telling you, the financial gurus, they're all planning a gold and silver grab by the end of this year. So you might see a change in price by September. And if you don't have the capital to be able to go just buy it, get with me after the call. We got an amazing program. It's making it easy for everybody to get their hands on money. And we'll discuss that after Shabbat. But yeah, this is the year. This is the cutoff. This is the cutoff this year.
Get your hands on money. Get your hands on money.
This year, man.
There's different ways that you can buy silver. There's different ways. You don't have to buy just an ounce. You can buy grams. You can buy a tenth of an ounce. You can buy a quarter of an ounce. You can buy a half an ounce. So you don't have to buy a full ounce of silver. You can buy it in denominations. So if you don't have a lot, you can still get something. I always say, it's not how much you get, it's what you get.
Right. Right. You can start out here a little and there a little, you know? Accumulation.
That's right.
All the investors know accumulation. And right now, we are definitely in the accumulation season of gold and silver. And these seasons last for years.
And y'all got to understand,
And we're at the...
gold is the same thing. I just bought 1/25th ounce. A 1/25th ounce of gold. 2 1/25th ounce of gold cost me $200. So I got some gold.
And like you said before, you'll be able to walk up and buy some property for peanuts, for nothing when this stuff happens. If you got your hands on some gold and silver. People are going to be killing each other over the last little bit of food, last little bit of water. But if you got this, you're automatically what the scriptures call a ruler and a prince and a noble. You're already by default just having your hands on a few ounces. And you got the heads up beforehand. So when this thing comes to pass, you're going to be really mad at yourself if you didn't take advantage. Because even if it don't come to pass, you still need this because it's about to shoot up in value. And all the investors...
And if you get to the land, and because I'm seeing everybody on here, Anakin, AZL, MJ, Dawayad, y'all get to the land, because I'm going to know who you are. I'll say, oh yeah, you were on that. Hey bro, you got some silver? He said, no. Okay, stand over here.
Right. It's gonna be real, man. It's gonna be real.
And I'm gonna say, you're my workers. You're my workers. You're gonna work. And you're gonna serve me. That's the way it's gonna be, brothers. I'm telling you. It ain't gonna be no. Not gonna be no. Hey brother, hey, how you doing? Come over here, sit over here with me. No.
That's why people are going to be fighting over food and water because they don't know how to prepare. They don't know how to market, how the cycles work. So people are going to be killing each other over the last little bit of food, last little bit of water. Meanwhile, the Most High is flipping the pyramid. He's flipping it. We've been the bottom of the pyramid for 400 years. He's about to flip it. Just like he did in Egypt. In Egypt, we was at the bottom of the pyramid. But he flipped it and made us the second right under the capstone. We're living in that time again. Money's about to fail.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, currency is about to fail.
Dollars currency is about to fail.
Yeah.
So it's just like that video. Send them that video, man, on South Park. And only the rich in the America is going to be the ones with money.
Americans are currently investing everything they have in the metaverse, Bitcoin, Doge, and all that's going to go too. Eventually. Eventually. But most Americans, they're not buying no silver and gold. Only the ones that's in the know, which is very small percentage.
There are less than 1,000 people per state in the United States that are buying gold and silver right now. Less than 1,000.
So consider yourself blessed.
Yeah, you guys are, I mean, this is, you guys are privy to something that 99.99% of the people in the United States know about, or the world.
Okay, is there we got a for the recording, is there one more scripture you want to go over, Elder? For the recording, or you
That's it.
That's it? You sure? Any questions, y'all? Any scripture you want to break down? Anything? I mean, y'all can still continue talking, but I'm gonna just stop this recording.
I'm good.
All right, all right.
Does anybody have any comments? Very happy that I tuned in. And I'll be, I'll be here. I'm on it. It's good. It's good to learn new things. That's very important.
Hey, y'all, that's my brother-in-law, man. Born and raised in the real Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? So give it up for my brother, man. He's first one from the land to, be a part of the hostile takeover. My wife hates when I say that. Yeah, man. It's our time. It's our time. And I'm gonna be going deeper. I'm gonna be going deeper into this as the days go by. I'm gonna be releasing this video in a few days as well, with pictures and visuals and everything.
That's it.